The Italian Grand Prix is over, and I tell you right now, we've got a lot to unpack. And genuinely, there's a bit of happiness as a Ferrari fan myself because we made a late push. We did what we had to do, try and climb up the table, get into the points. But my F1 co-host, other co-host isn't here, but Augusti is back. So Azum PY will be lurking in the chat. Big up to you, bro.
PY.
And yep, how you doing, man?
Yeah, PY's favorite guest this year, the father of this channel, right, Akavin?
You're not a guest. You're not a guest. You're a co-host.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, I should never insult or demote, relegate myself. But how you doing, Akavin? Good race. You know what? I have to say, Imola is usually a boring race. Not many overtakes. Very limited over.
The grip is trash as well. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Grip is
Oh,
trash.
dude, that's a fucking understatement. Imola is usually an underwhelming race. Not many overtaking opportunities. Not much action. But you know what? For the final ever time at Imola, because I don't think we'll be coming back next year, Ekvin, I don't know about you, I kind of enjoyed it. And especially because the reason you just said, the ending, Forza Ferrari, because this was the first race this season, I think, as a Ferrari fan, you can actually take some pride and be, proud of the team. Because I think everyone did their job.
We did. But the thing is, right, like I said, if Ferrari would have started better, if they would have started on the... If they would have made it to Q3. Because, me and King were earlier today, I was pretty much shitting on Ferrari. I was pretty much saying they did not come into this year prepared.
Water is wet, Ekevin. You shitting on Ferrari, water is wet. What's the difference, man?
And I said Ferrari aren't here to race this year.
Now, wait, hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, Ekevin. Look who's in the chat.
I know.
Check the chat. The legend himself.
But anyways, I'll bring up his comments in a bit. But like I said, as today's race went, I'm pretty happy with the way Ferrari raced today. I can't lie, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like P4 and P6. Listen, what did you expect going to today's race? Like, did you expect us to be like what in the podium, like near the podium? Because towards the end of the race, we actually caught, like, we were so close to that podium, so close, from P11 and P12 all the way up to P6 and P4. Do you know what? Fair play. I give credit where it's due. Ferrari, and I will say this shamelessly, they're a lot faster than what we think.
Oh, no doubt, man.
Well, they just don't do it pre-race. They don't prepare themselves. They don't. In terms of
we're too far behind on a Saturday, so we're always starting on a back foot on a Sunday. That's the problem, Ekevin. We're too far behind on Saturday, and if you look at our difference between Saturday and Sunday, on Saturday, our quali pace is usually fourth or fifth fastest. Like, we are in the midfield. We are in like the literal midfield. Whereas on a Sunday, Ekevin, we are like 3-4 tenths faster. Our straight line speed, Ekevin, I don't know if you noticed, we were fucking quick. I would make the case we were quicker than Mercedes, which is nuts because Mercedes have been the second fastest team all season.
They have. Bro, and Kimi's let me down, man. I can't lie. Kimi at his home race. Yeah. Ferrari goes back home. And Kimi Antonelli doesn't do well. It's unfortunate, man. Kimi's had a great year. Kimi's been having a great year. You got to give credit where it's due to him, man. He's had a successful season so far in terms of rookie wise, and he's been unbelievable. So fair play. One bad race does not determine the season, man. It doesn't determine the season. But fair play to him. But as I told King, I'm sure he'll be on soon in a bit. Yeah. I told him Ferrari are much faster than what we observe and think. Just constant errors pre-race. Which is true, because Ferrari constantly make errors pre-race. In terms of qualifying, Ferrari never ever prepare themselves or get themselves into good situations or good positions to be within a shot of winning the race. They're always so far. They're always so far below. They're always finishing so far low in terms of like where the table is. They're always finishing where P7 P8. They're never within P3 P4. There are times where you could maybe say, oh, Ferrari will get overtaken by this, that, the other, in terms of podium, in terms of qualifying, and in terms of actual race, they'll get overtaken. But today just tells me everything I need to know that Ferrari can do it on any given race, but they just don't prepare themselves for the race. They're never prepared, bro, and that's the problem. And it's cost us so far our season, bro. It's been 7 races into the season with 17 races to go, and this right here, with 17 races to go, you still got so much time to put in a new package to prepare yourself to upgrade the engine, and turn your entire season around. This race right here gives me a tiny bit of hope because it's one race. I'm not gonna go. I think maybe being at home, maybe being in Italy, kind of tells me that Ferrari needed to put in a performance in front of their fans, because this was a Ferrari. This was a Ferrari crowd. This was a Ferrari home circuit. This was a Ferrari homecoming. So they need to put in a performance for the fans to enjoy, something for the fans to get to be like, okay, we can cheer about something. We can be happy about something. Looking at P4 and P6, did I expect to double like in terms of like how quick they were? No, I didn't expect it. I'll be honest. I thought they'd be like P7, P8. I didn't think they'd finish bottom half. No, their car is too quick for the bottom half. In terms of where I think Ferrari have been this season, they look like a bottom half car. Do I think they are a bottom half car? No, but they look like it, and they don't. Like I said, they don't prepare themselves. They don't put themselves into good situations going into races. They don't put themselves into good situations going into the races, because time and time again, you're looking at Fred Vasseur. What's his strategy? You're looking at Lewis Hamilton. Is his car ready? Is Charles Leclerc's car well equipped? And you're thinking to yourself, no, we don't have any expectation going to the weekend. But really and truly, there should be some expectation now when you're seeing a result like this. There should be some expectation, bro. Ferrari have only finished once in the podium this year, haven't they? Once this year in the podium.
It's Kevin, I just want to add, I don't want to interrupt real quick.
No, it's your show too. It's your show. Don't worry about it.
But while you're on this, I completely agree with everything you said. 100% of every word that you said, I completely agree. I echo everything. I just add one thing, though. My issue with Ferrari isn't even what we're doing this season. It's what we did heading into the season. I think whenever you're the biggest franchise of your sport, so whether this is Man United, whether this is the Lakers, I said the Lakers, I'll stand by that. Whether it's... Sure, fine. But the Lakers are bigger, as we've discussed.
You're on my channel. You gotta say Celtics.
Yeah, I'm on your channel. I gotta be a truth teller, right? I gotta be a fact spiller.
18 NBA championships, but sorry, go on.
That means better. That doesn't mean bigger. Bigger is size, support, revenue, Akevin. But hey, anyways, United.
Everyone's a Ferrari fan, though. Even McLaren fans are Ferrari fans, though. Everyone's a Ferrari fan.
Dude, I mean? Red is synonymous with racing, like Sebastian Vettel said. You're a Ferrari fan even if you don't admit it, right? Like all the Mercedes guys, they love Ferrari. Like Lewis Hamilton, the guy was Ferrari's sworn enemy for his whole career. What happens? He had to join Ferrari because if he didn't, his career was always going to be incomplete, even if he won everything there is to win. On your point about Ferrari, as I was saying, if you are the biggest franchise of your sport, your aim should always be to win the championship. Now, again, we've talked about this. We mentioned it with Newcastle in the chat earlier, Akevin. We said that championships are the currency of sport. So you would think that, hey, every team, whenever you're playing, if you're not playing to win, what's the point of even stepping on the pitch? But I think that sentiment especially applies to teams that have the capital to actually claim those championships. Because like if you're in the Premier League, for example, if you're a relegation team, if you're a mid-table team, I get it. You're not trying to win the Premier League, because that's not where your stature, or you don't have the ability or financial autonomy to do that. But in this case, when you're a Man United, when you're a Lakers, when you're a Ferrari, you should always be trying to win every single season, and there should be no excuse because you have the appeal, you have the allure, not just from a commercial standpoint, not just from a capital standpoint, but also competitively, because you do have the talent and you can get the talent. Look at the Lakers this season when their season was going haywire. You can thank Nico Harrison, of course, but they got Luka. Every single generation, they find their Showtime superstar to get. And then you have Ferrari, for example, right? Carlos Sainz goes, good driver, capable of competing for the Constructors' Championship. You signed the greatest driver of all time, Lewis Hamilton. Before, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Man United when we're in the Europa League. Ekman, we still signed the top players. Look at Jose's windows. Look at Louis Van Gaal's windows. So my point here is, my issue with Ferrari, it isn't even what we're doing from week to week. Fred Vasseur and Ferrari already said before the season started, we are throwing the white flag. And I think that is unacceptable because they said with the new regulations coming in next year, 2026, they're like, this season, the momentum we had heading into this season, scrap that. Even though we were looking like the best team, scrap that because our aim should only be for the future, which I think, again, you should compromise. You should try and win both years, but Ferrari made their bed. They're going to lie in it, and then we're going to find out if they are successful next year. Because if we don't win the championship next year, Ekevin, it is a complete failure.
I hear it. I gotta welcome King. Obviously, big up to you for hopping on, bro. Good race of Ferrari today, isn't it, bro? Honestly, when you and I were talking earlier today on the preview show, we were pretty much saying Ferrari are completely done the season. Like this season's been like a total disaster within 7 races in. But what I told you on private chat earlier today, right? I told you that the Ferrari do so well in race. It's just the pre-race preparation that screws them over. But I want to know your thoughts, and I hope you're well, man. I know we did a show earlier today, but yeah, hope you enjoyed the race, and yeah, tell me a bit about what you think about what we said, and give me your input.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the intro. Got to lie, I was watching the Arsenal game that knocked me out for a little bit, so sorry for being late, people.
No.
Not your fault, man. Blame them. Blame us.
We're waiting for Newcastle.
I watched football.
We fell asleep.
Yeah. But honestly, watching that race, it was a good watch. It was a good watch. I felt like the safety car in the end kind of stopped the race from what it could have been. I think it even though it's interesting to bunch them together, I feel like the Ferraris at that point had momentum going on, and I feel like the only annoyance that I have is that if we had a better qualifying, I think Ferrari's race pace could have been able to at least compete with the McLarens and at least the McLarens. Not so much Verstappen because I think he was on level of his own today, but definitely with at least trying to get to 3rd place. And when you have such a bad Saturday, it puts you in a position where you get stuck behind other cars. And for Hamilton, he was stuck behind Kimi for a long time. And then even with other races, you kind of feel like they could have done so much more. But yeah, the race pace was unbelievable. I think it was like the third fastest car on the track. Way quicker.
Sorry, what is this North Korea, Soviet Union, American style propaganda, Ekevin? The one and only comment you show is one positive about you. Bro, PY has been spitting truth bombs. He has nuked your team, the Boston Celtics. You don't show that comment.
He's a Celtics fan himself.
Oh, okay, whatever it is. He's speaking facts about the Celtics. Obviously, he's speaking facts about me because, he's got...
He made one comment about the Celtics, right? And bring it out. I don't want to talk
Yeah, Ekevin, what is this propaganda, man? The one comment that you show out of the thousands...
It's the comment that got me. That's why I was
Nah. This is... Bro, dictators would envy your propaganda.
I'm bringing up comments as I go. Don't worry, man. Just continue.
Nah. That is... All
right, let's go to the comments then. Why not? Let's go to the comments. I gotta see the go. Here you go. Right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
We need you on NBA segment, bro. He was there at the start of the year and he dipped. Pretty much.
Yes. Sorry, health issues, but I will be back. Yo, I'd be back for the NBA Finals, Ekavin, if you want that.
No, I will be doing the NBA Finals and NBA season review. I'll be there. No worries. I'll be doing NBA Game 7 preview in like half an hour or something.
Yeah,
I'll be in the
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, Ferrari was the third quickest car on the track, by a mile, way quicker than Mercedes. I think the Mercedes had a lot of issues.
Okay.
Way quicker than the Williams and even Aston Martin. The Aston Martins were pretty slow actually, considering their pace on the qualifying. They really messed up. So it's annoying that we didn't get the Saturday right, because if you get the Saturday right, you give yourself a better position to be in terms of the race. So I feel like the Saturday let us down. The Sunday was pretty much anything but close to perfect. I would guess if you're a Ferrari fan, because when going into it, you were thinking, nah, this is going to be a nothing race for us. Yeah. The brake issues. I mean, you had some good, glimpses of what the Ferrari could do in I think the second practice, and they were talking about that a lot during the race, but not to that level. I didn't expect us to be so much quicker than the rest, and it was good to see. Obviously, at the end, Charles had to relent his position because he had the weaker tire, which was unfortunate. I think they should have maybe brought him in to replace his tire towards the end. I think that's probably the only mistake that Ferrari made. And yeah, 4th and 6th
could have been podium, but you know what?
Could have been. But I'll take 4th and 6th every day of the week at this moment. The way Ferrari's moving, so
but like I said,
I think it was good.
It's almost like Aston Martin's qualifying position and Ferrari's race position inverted. That's what almost happened in a way. Hamilton, Alonso, King, 100% agree with you. You're completely correct about Ferrari's race pace. I'll go one step further. I don't know if you heard this part. I would actually say Ferrari's straight line speed, you could make a case it's second best right off the McLaren. Like, that was impressive. That shit was really impressive. And that's been a theme throughout the season. I don't think today is the exception. I think that's been the rule. You talk about our delta between quali and race. We actually look a lot stronger. We look like we have 3-4 tenths more in a race car compared to a quali car. We're just
let us down every time.
Yeah, we're just too far behind on a Saturday. Whereas Sunday, we're on the back foot, like I said. So when we're always trailing, we're never really able to stamp our authority on the track. So sorry, I couldn't go on.
No, it's cool, bro. I just need to say that. That's all. You can continue.
No, I mean, I agree with King. I'll just say one more thing on the Charles Leclerc pit. I completely agree with you. I would say that doesn't just apply to Leclerc. I think that also applies to somebody else on the grid, the championship leader, Oscar Piastri. I think that final safety car, McLaren stacked. They had the ability to, they had the space to, and there was no traffic or anything that would interrupt them. They could have easily double stacked Oscar and Lando, and they all three could have fought for the win, but they didn't. I think that was the biggest issue. I know a lot of people post-race were debating, hey, should McLaren have allowed Lando to pass through Oscar? Lando was on fresher tires. Oscar wasn't. To that, I would say Lando actually gave a very mature response. No, I actually think allowing them to fight makes sense because I'm not being premature. I know we're 7 races in a 24 race season, but McLaren realistically have no contenders for the championship and they're not going to. And at this stage of the season, you do not want to risk alienating or infusing or irritating one of your drivers. So if Lando really does have the fastest car or fastest tire, let them fight. I think letting them fight was the right thing to do because they are 3 in a championship situation, a driver's championship situation. However, like Ferrari with race preparations, I think the mistake was made before in the pit stops, not stopping Oscar at the same time as Lando, because I think that would have been an epic finale to the race. But still, I'll say this real quick. King was right about Max. Rare praise to Max Verstappen from King. No, I'm just tripping. Max was mega. And I'll add one more thing. That Red Bull team, I know I've glazed Max all season. I've talked about how he's in a league of his own. I've talked about how he's the best driver, how the gap between the best and the rest has never been this big. But I'm actually not going to give Max the praise this time. We know what he can do. We've seen what he's capable of. First win as a father as well. Congratulations. I'm going to give Hannah Schmidt and the Red Bull team their credit because that Red Bull team, they seem to really be getting their shit together on a race weekend. Every time when you see them on a Friday compared to a Sunday, whether they're sandbagging or not, that transition from being okay, the best of the rest after McLaren to actually being competitive, they do a lot of tweaks. They are really committed, and as I've said before, because I think it's because that contract clause in Max's contract, where if he isn't top 3 in the drivers' championship, he is free to go wherever he wants. Red Bull have to be on their game, and that's why I think do not count out Max Verstappen for this championship, because Red Bull, they are throwing all their eggs in this basket this year. And by the second half of the season, if Max is within a whisker's length, if he is 30 points within that championship, and he has a car that is the same level as McLaren, he will win this championship.
I hear you, bro. Honestly, like I said, Max Verstappen, his car might not be the fastest, but it's the team and his strategy is getting over the line. You know, he's getting over the line because of his strategy and his team. Like, you got to give credit because, you know, look at McLaren's half. Look at McLaren this season. Look at McLaren this entire season. How good have they been? How good have McLaren been this year? They've completely taken over this season, man. Like, 2025 is McLaren's year. I'm not even gonna, you know, explain why. Both drivers this year have just been on point. Apart from Lando Norris, he's not been on point, but today was one of his better races. I must say, today was one of Lando Norris's much better races. Like, he took down Oscar on that straight. He completely took Oscar down. Like, yes, it's a team game, but Lando looks a lot quicker now, and Oscar Piastri had one of his, let's say, least good races this year. He still had a decent race, don't get me wrong, but it was not his perfect race. It was his worst race out of the best he's had this year. So I think Oscar will be back. Honestly, it's a blip for him. Trust me. I don't see why he won't be back next week. Unless are there sprints next week, if I'm not mistaken. Are there sprints in what's the next race?
I hope there is no sprint in Monaco, because that's not a sprint, man. That's a snooze fest.
Okay,
bro.
If
there's a sprint in Monaco, that's a snooze fest, bro.
Say less. Okay, it's Monaco. Fine. I didn't know it was Monaco.
But no, but Ekevin, you are. Clip that, bro. Everything you said about Oscar Piastri, I completely agree with you. Touche. Preach.
No, I will. But like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see who can take over who down the tunnel next week, because it's a tunnel takeover. It's not gonna be no one's gonna take over in that corner of the, because you know that one part of Monaco, it's so tight to get to race. You know that you have to be so careful. One little mistake and you're out, because that corner is very, very, very dangerous.
I think that's the whole track, Ekevin. The whole track is just
no. I'm talking about that one specific corner. I know you're talking about, but you know what I'm talking about. That one specific corner that you have to get through.
Are you talking about right before the tunnel?
Yeah, just before, like, you like it's a very, very tight straight. So you have to try and you have to try and get through that. But now, like I said, I think this week is a blip for McLaren. I think they'll bounce back. In terms of Max, though, like, I think he just had the fastest car this weekend. I'll be honest with you. Completely took over the race. I think completely took over the race from the very first lap. I think when he took over Oscar, or was it Oscar he took over first when he went top?
Yes, sir. It was Oscar
I think he was just on point today. His race was on point today. I think he had the fastest car this weekend for me. I think he was. I think there's a reason why he won today's race. It wasn't just because he had the fastest car, but strategically he had the better team going to this weekend. Like you said, give credit to what was her name again?
Hannah Schmitz, I think it is.
Hannah Schmitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. On point, bro. Strategy on point. You know,
yes.
Right. Everything on point with Max today. He controlled the race from lap 1-2. Completely controlled the race from laps 1 and 2. And like I said, it's always about the start, because I always say this every single show. It's about the start. It's about what you do at the very start of the race. Because an accident can just end your race, and Max from the get go completely took down that McLaren car. Completely took down that overtake was like fair play. It was a brilliant overtake. And he completely just destroyed that McLaren car, like I said. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on. I think Auguste made his point, but I'll go to King next. I think Auguste's made his point already, and I just wanted to elaborate more on that. But next, you go ahead, bro. And shout out to you, Justin. I'll see you in a bit, bro. Shout out, bro.
I agree with the fact that Max won the race in lap 1, because what we've known about Formula 1 this year is that if you're in the front, you have the best position because you've got the clean air. You're able to make your car quicker than it actually is compared to others, because others are going to have to face dirty air and things of that nature. And I feel like the moment that Max passed Oscar in that first lap, Oscar lost the race from then and there. There was no coming back from that, because if you have cars that are similar race pace, the one thing you need to do after the first lap is be ahead. The moment you even give Max the hope of being ahead within that first lap, he's just going to take off, because he's one of the best when it comes to being in front. He knows what to do from that position. From there, he controlled the whole race. Granted, he did get some fortune when it came to the safety cars, but that's a part of that's what happens when you're at the front. You get that fortune because you did what you needed to do within that first lap. That's what Oscar shouldn't have let happen. Sometimes within the first lap, you have to be a bit dirty, defend a bit better than that, because you can't allow Max to get past you on that first lap. The moment he allowed that to happen, that was his young mind, his naivete to who Max is. The moment he let him past, that's your win gone. You did great on the Saturday. Well done, Oscar. But you let a great, and as you say, the best on the track pass you in the first lap. You can't do that. The other thing is with what you said with Lando is his Lando's issue has never been Sundays. It's been the Saturdays.
Preach.
It's the Saturdays that my issue with him. You in that McLaren can't be behind George Russell in P4, because then you're always putting yourself in a position, as the Ferraris did in this race, to not be able to fully complete for the number 1 spot. And that also means that you're leaving Oscar to deal with Max on his own, because you have to get first initially in that first lap. You have to get past Russell, and if you don't do that, then you have to actually get past Russell at some point. And we've known about the cars this year, especially if you're behind a car, it's difficult to get past, even if you're the quicker car. Same way that it affected Lewis, it affected Lando for most of the race that he was behind. Even if he's in the quicker car and has all the pace in the world, he can't utilize it, because by the time he gets past the car, the other cars are already down the road because they've got cleaner air. They're doing their thing. So for me, as I said, this was the perfect race for Max. Oscar, this is a learning curve that he has to understand, that the first lap you fight tooth and nail to stay in front. Do what you need to do defensively in order to stay in front, because within the first lap you can get away with a lot more. Max is one of the greatest when it comes to understanding that you can get away with a lot more in that first lap. Oscar needs to not be a nice guy. You can't allow for Max to pass him like that on that first lap. And that was the thing that changed the whole entire race for McLaren. And for me, McLaren as a team, they need to stop being so nice. As a whole, I feel like it's last couple seasons okay being the nice guy, because you weren't competing for nothing. Maybe towards the end of last season you were the best car, but now you're the top dog. You need to act like the top dog. You need to have that level of arrogance, that confidence that I don't see from that team at times, because you have the fastest car. Each week, and it doesn't matter what racetrack it is, McLaren's always the fastest car by a mile, but they never put it on to getting a 1-2 in the race. It's very rare that they do that, and after 7 races, that's not going to help them, because as you said, if Red Bull get their car together, and the way that I know that Yuki can perform, if Red Bull at some point, especially in the second half of the season, have the better car, Red Bull ain't gonna be nice. They're gonna do 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then at that point, McLaren will see their constructors go like that. They'll see their drivers' championship go like that.
Don't count out Mercedes as well. Mercedes have had a really good season so far for their standards. I didn't think Mercedes would be having a good year. I didn't think Mercedes after Lewis would be having a decent year. But Kimi's actually striving in this car. Like George Russell's actually doing a good job being the number one driver in that Mercedes, despite losing Lewis Hamilton, despite losing the greatest driver ever, right? But I didn't expect Mercedes to be within in the top three. I didn't expect.
No, and I 100% agree with you. You're right. George Russell is easily top 3 drivers this season.
He's holding the fort down well.
Yeah, no doubt. But I will just say, I agree with King. If there's any team to knock off McLaren off their perch this year, it will be Red Bull and only Red Bull. No disrespect to Mercedes, but they do not, with Russell and Antonelli, they don't have A, the experience, but B, they also don't have the ruthlessness to actually reign supreme. As King, I'm going to use your phrase, Red Bull love to tinker in the dark arts. They will play with the dark arts. That's their book. Like Doctor Strange, who the fuck is Doctor Strange? They will go Scarlet Witch mode. They will go like Doctor Doom mode. That's what they will do, Red Bull. So be careful what you wish for, because when Red Bull get their shit together, which they will by the end of the season, I promise you, they will have a car that is at the same level, if not a superior level to you. Good luck, Lando and Oscar. I'll say this about Oscar Piastri as well. Yes, it was a learning curve for him because young Oscar fell asleep on the first lap. It was a very good maneuver from Max. And I'll say this, not many drivers would have made that move on the first lap, especially with the championship on the line. And I think there's a good quote that talks about this, the difference between the greats and the greatest drivers of them all. The greats, they can hit all the targets that they want. They can win all the championships. The greatest, they create new targets, things that people never thought were even possible. And that was similar to what we saw in the first lap with Max Verstappen, where Oscar didn't even expect Max to come through because he was so far behind. Who would have thought Max Verstappen had the tenacity, had the fire in him to pull through with that? And he caught Oscar Piastri napping, and he made the maneuver.
That's his fourth win in a row in Imola now. Fourth win in a row in Imola.
Which is nuts, and he prevented Oscar Piastri from getting his 4th win in a row, I think, as well. So it was I'll say that. But I do, after the race, I love to try and psychoanalyze, what are the drivers' reactions, initial body language, facial expressions, the way they talk, because that tells a lot about your mentality as a competitor, as a high-level athlete. Usually when Lando is underwhelming, he goes to the media, he talks to the media, and he's like, hey, he didn't do a good job. He's very transparent with it. I think he's too transparent, because he kind of demonizes himself too much and shows vulnerability. Whereas Oscar Piastri, for the first time, I actually saw a little bit of his ego and personality in that. I keep forgetting what they call it. My goodness! After the races in the cool down room, Oscar looked a little bit pissed. He was like, "Shit, that was my victory. I blew that victory," as King said. And Oscar, he wasn't angry. He wasn't also self-loathing himself. What he was is like, nah, I'm going to use this as fuel to the fire. I know I'm calm. I know I'm composed. I know I can hold it together on track. That guy, Lando Norris, he's shown vulnerability. Max, yeah, I know Max is the best driver on the grid, but if he doesn't have the car, I have the fastest car. I back myself to win every single time. So watch out for this Oscar Piastri rebound arc, because as King said, McLaren have the fastest car, and they should be fastest in every track. We know Red Bull are good in Monaco. We know Red Bull love Monaco, and Red Bull are fanatics at Monaco. But let's see what this Oscar Piastri redemption arc, if I can call it, because he is still the leader. But he's got something to prove. So yeah.
But yeah, anyways, just give me a quick summary of today's race before we move on. I mean, before we wrap up, because we do have to do the NBA Game 7 preview, King. So. And like I say, you can feel free to join as well if you like, because it's Game 7. Often you see a Game 7 like this between two of the best teams right now in the playoffs, if you ask me. But anyways, give a quick summary of today's race and give me your your final thoughts going into next week.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you for that, Ekavin. I would normally join. I am free. I am going to watch the game. Problem is, because of my health issues, obviously, I've not caught a single minute of the series. So I don't think I'm the right person to go to, but I will be in the chat. I will be there. I'm hoping that most of you guys there and PY is there as well. So, but yeah, King, you can start because I spent the last 10 minutes talking about Oscar. So
yeah, for me in terms of the teams, I feel like you're right. I think Ferrari and Aston Martin had opposite day on both days in terms of Aston Martin were nowhere in terms of race pace. I think even the Mercedes had a lot of issues with their race pace, which was a strange one for me today because I felt like they would have been better on the Sunday, but I think they were nowhere to be found, and I think they went backwards as well. So it just felt like Ferrari, as I said, with the third best car. I think Max was on his own, really, pretty much, and the McLarens raced at the end. The only thing I would say about them racing at the end, they were very close to crash. So sometimes I feel like even though you do want them to race, that's a very risky business to, especially when you're a team that's trying to go for the constructors. It may be okay now, but there's points where you got to say, listen, just finish the race rather than having them fight each other because in reality, you'd rather get the points than them crashing at that moment, which pretty much seconds away from crashing. And if they crash two DQs, that's a whole load of points lost, and that's what happened to Ferrari earlier in the season, and that can be costly in the constructors championship. But overall, I think it was a good race. I enjoyed it. I think the safety cars and the crashes, or the cars stopping as well. Unfortunate for Kimi, his car went out on him. Yeah, George didn't have the race that he wanted, and yeah, I just felt as a Ferrari fan, I felt good about the race pace. We need to do better on the Saturdays, and yeah, I just think Oscar was a bit naive. Lando needs to be better on the Saturdays, and yeah, it was just another dominant Max Red Bull performance. As you said, the team did everything they needed to do. They were on point in every decision they made, and that led them to winning that race. So it's not much more I can say outside of that. And I will say one more thing. Hadja has been for me unbelievable so far this season.
good
And
shout.
I like everything he's doing. I see him being a Red Bull driver in the future, no doubt.
And don't forget, Charles Leclerc won his first race of the year in Monaco last year. So if Ferrari can get the shit together next week, there's a good chance that Monaco could be Charles Leclerc's race because it is his hometown. It is Charles Leclerc's hometown. So next week would be a really good race. Would be a really good place for Ferrari to get off the mark because there's not many straights. So if Ferrari if you basically finish on pole in qualifiers, you're pretty much almost guaranteed to win the race. Almost guaranteed. Why I say almost guaranteed is because you're pretty much going to lead the race without having to deal with any straights. There's so many overtaking zones, and there's 80 plus laps. And like last year, we had a horrible start to the race with what was it, Carlos Sainz and a few others getting into an accident, and what was it, Nico Hulkenberg or something as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, anyways, my review is great race from Ferrari. I think they did the job on the actual day itself, on preview in terms of like race prep, not so great, but in terms of actual race itself, I think they did a really, really good job in terms of getting their shit together and actually getting into a decent position in terms of the point into the point system. But also, like I said, credit to Max. I think he raced very, very well. I think from lap one, that overtake on the McLaren, that was cold. That was a cold overtake. Sorry, that was just a cold overtake, man. And honestly,
It was Ekavin. It was the takeover. He took over from that
Pretty
moment.
much, but I meant overtaking in terms of like when he went around the car. He took over the race. Like fair play to Max, honestly. And yeah, Gusty made the point. It's his first race won since he's had his daughter. So fair play to Max Verstappen. Congratulations to him. I think
Daddy
McLaren.
on the track.
If you know, you know. If you man know, you know.
Daddy Max owning McLaren. The orange man owning the orange team.
Big Daddy.
Orange.
You mean Big Daddy?
I wouldn't go that far, but you can.
Yeah,
You can.
no, but
You can be your Big Daddy.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But
I
anyway,
definitely.
but like I said, like fair play to Red Bull. McLaren got their shit together in, I'd say, mid race. I think they did all right down the final. I would say they pulled away from Ferrari in the final couple laps. I think Ferrari did a good job to close the gap in fourth and third. I think they did a good job to kind of put themselves into a position where they actually got themselves into a conversation of getting a podium place had the pre-race preparations been better. But I think this is I'm going to say it again. This has been McLaren's worst race of the year, in my opinion. If you ask me, as a team, as an overall team, this is their worst race this year, because Oscar, he wasn't his usual self, in my opinion. This is his worst race of the best of the lot for me. If you go look at the races he's had this year, out of all the 7 races, I rank this one as the bottom for them so far. In terms of 7 races that they've had this year, this is the worst one they've had so far, McLaren.
And that tells you something. If a 2 and 3 is your worst race this year, damn,
then it just tells you that they've completely dominated this year. No matter who's won, races, McLaren has just dominated. It's just taken over from race 1, since Melbourne. So, no, yeah, I also want to add that George Russell, I think he dropped off a bit this week. I don't know what happened to Mercedes race pace. Even Kimi, don't know what happened to Kimi as well this week. I think they've both had a bit of a struggle, because if a Ferrari car who's not had a great year finishes above you, you know you have problems this week. You know you have issues this weekend. So next weekend, going to Monaco, I think it might benefit George, because I think George does well on the turns. I think in terms of those races, I think that's where Mercedes do have a good race. I don't know if he'll be prepared for next weekend. It just depends on what Mercedes do as a team. But going into next weekend, I'm expecting a tight race. It'll be a very, very tight race next week, with very few overtaking zones. So hopefully, Mercedes can get the shit together, but it just depends on, like I said, their race prep. Because this weekend they not prepared well, in my opinion. They did not prepare well this weekend. So, but yeah, Isaac Hadjar. Sorry. Before we end up, let's talk about Alex Albon, please. Just 2 of you, quick review. Alex Albon.
My goodness, Alex Albon, 40 points.
How could we forget our fellow Thai countryman, Augustia?
Yeah, we should fucking have our passports stripped off us. That is disrespectful from us. But to be fair, we can speak more Thai than him. Well, I can.
I don't care about that.
No, we claim him. Alex Albon, my goodness, 40 points in the Drivers' Championship. That is nuts. I think he is best of the rest, and by some distance. And when your teammate is Carlos Sainz, and you're above him by 40 points, I think by 30 points it is, which is nuts for a midfield team. And I know Carlos Sainz just joined Williams, so people will say, hey, give him time to acclimate. You're absolutely correct. But still, the gap is nuts, and I know Sainz has been unlucky. But Alex Albon, I would say this has been his greatest start to a Formula One campaign. And that's saying something, because he's been in a Red Bull car before. So Alex Albon, really mature. And if you hear his interviews and if you see the way he talks and he analyzes the game, he is really intelligent. He is one of the shrewdest drivers out on track. And you can see that mind translate into machinery, mastery on the machinery. So kudos to Alex Albon. as someone who lives in Thailand, I am super duper proud of him, and keep it up because it has been nothing short of a sensational campaign so far. Right, King?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Williams have been best of the rest. Even in qualifying, they did a lot better job than Ferrari did, and over this race weekend, they've been pretty much where they needed to be. Alex was unlucky towards the end. Obviously, he was in P4 for most of the race, and he lost that towards the end to Lewis, and maybe and nearly lost, maybe even finished nearly at P6. But things happened towards the end, so he got that P5, which is good. Carlos Sainz got um points as well, so double points for Williams. I think Williams has been the best of the rest car. Albon has been that leader that teams needed. He's, as you said, he's matured from his Red Bull days, and I think they have a top quality driver lineup, and I'm very excited to see what they do for the rest of the season as a team, because every weekend they prove to me that why I think they are the best of the rest, and they're a team that people should look out for going forward, especially if next season Mercedes have the best engine. I think they're a team that can really benefit from that if they've got one of the better engines, because I like their leadership, I like their team, I like everything about it from top to bottom. They're on point. They're they would I think that outside of maybe McLaren, they've been the best team in totality, has been being on point from start to finish in a race, finishing where they need to do, maximizing most of their weekends, and yeah, I've liked them as a team in totality so far. So yeah, I think they've been the second best team overall as a package for me, uh, behind McLaren. So I got nothing but praise for Alex and that Williams team as well, especially Alex. I like him as a race driver. I think him, uh who else? Gasly, them Red Bull drivers, they were never given a fair shout, and it's good to see that they're showing what they're capable of now in new teams as well. So yeah, man, I'm more than happy for him. British tire driver, yeah, man, he's doing his thing, and yeah, definitely, and he definitely deserves to be best of the rest, because that's who he is right now. He is the best of the rest, in my opinion.
No, I hear you guys, and honestly, they just got their shit together. I think the Williams this weekend, they got their shit together, because they look a lot faster compared to most weeks. I also have to give credit to Aston Martin, because I think they also put in a good fight this weekend. I think they down the final stretch as well was very, very good. I think you got to give credit to Fernando Alonso. I think he looked a lot faster than usual. In terms of posing a threat, in terms of just making it competitive, yeah, you have to give credit to Fernando Alonso as well, because he gave himself a good race, a good account of today's race, I would say. But yeah, no, Alex Albon, happy for him, man. Honestly, he needed this, because he was once a Red Bull driver competing with. He was racing alongside Max, and looking at him now, he's at the Williams.
Ackerman, I don't want to interrupt, but I don't know who you're talking about. Kevin in the chat is 100% correct. Max, I don't know who Max is. I know who Franz Hermann is. If you know, you know. I think Franz Hermann, we forgot to mention him. He was my driver of the weekend. He was unbelievable this weekend, and it was another remarkable race win for him. So kudos to him. If you don't know Ekevin, basically Max Verstappen's alias name is Franz Hermann. That's what I think that's what he listed in another competition he's in. So people are calling him Franz Hermann. I just had to get that in because Kevin made that point in the chat.
Fair enough. But anyways, as I was saying, like from where Alex Albon was a year ago or two, and now he's getting himself into good positions now. I think in terms of like race, I think he's done well. He's done well for himself, and honestly, fair play to him. I hopefully keeps this up, man, because I would love to see Alex Albon, finishing the podium sometime soon this year. If not, then maybe at least be within like this every single week, because I like seeing fellow countrymen do well in a race. So fair play to him. I gotta see a quick assessment of today's race, just like how me and King did. Just a quick assessment, and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, if this is the last time we go to Imola, thank you, because although the races haven't been the most entertaining, they certainly have been we have had some memorable moments take place. It is a historic track. It's home to Ferrari fans. So thank you so much. The atmosphere is unbelievable. And today's race was a fitting send-off. I think it was very entertaining. So Imola, thank you very much. It's been a blast. Max Verstappen, once again, Big Daddy. Big Daddy dominates and he leads the championship. Sorry, that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler for the future. That's not a slip up. That's a spoiler for the future. If Red Bull give him the car, watch out because Big Daddy has once again proved that, hey, if he is 2-3 tenths within the McLarens, any minute mistake, any turn off, any switch off, any strategy mistake, that man will win the race. So be careful, McLaren. You got to maximize your points in this early phase. Watch out for Oscar Piastri's redemption arc next week. And Ferrari, as both of you pointed out, Ferrari and Lando Norris, on a Sunday, you look beautiful. You have unbelievable race pace, especially on a straight line, but you cannot leave yourself such a gap, such a setback to overturn. And for the rest of the field, yeah, Alex Albon, Williams, been, as King said, I completely agree with you, have been the second best team, have arguably the most balanced, well-rounded team on the entire grid. And for the rest of the grid, we will see you in Monaco for this triple header, which so far has been actually entertaining. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Fair enough. I'm just reading the comments now. Who's your favorite player of all time? Favorite driver of all time? Michael Schumacher. Yours? Both of yours?
It used to be Lando Norris, but after Abu Dhabi, I had Lewis became my favorite driver.
King?
When I was young, it was Schumacher. That's the reason why I'm a Ferrari fan.
Same.
I also have a little love for Vettel as well. I like Vettel, especially towards the end. I think Ferrari did him dirty, but yeah, I liked Vettel.
Ferrari does everything.
And always Lewis as well. Lewis is always there. But to be honest, I've been a hater of Lewis for most of my life because he's been on the wrong team.
So have I. I can't lie. I will admit this right now. I've been the same with King. Like, I've not really sided with Lewis up until he's joined Ferrari. Because obviously, when you're a Ferrari driver and I support Ferrari, I have to side with the driver, right? I have to side with him. So, I mean, I agree with King. Like, honestly, Ferraris since Schumacher left, I would say they've done everyone dirty. Vettel dirty. They've done Charles Leclerc dirty at times. They've done Carlos Sainz dirty at plenty of times, bro. Trust me.
Forgetting the worst thing, Fernando Alonso, man.
Alonso as well.
Yeah.
That man carried Ferrari on his back. Somehow nearly won the championship as well.
Actually, can I add one more thing? I got a special shout out for one driver, Kimi Räikkönen, the Iceman. He's a one of a kind. I ain't gonna lie to you. When he was in Monaco and he crashed out and then went to his yacht.
He's your Dennis Rodman, except without the flair and fire.
Yeah, he just does what he does. I like him. I like him a lot, and he's the last Ferrari world champion. So that's mad to say, really.
True that. Yeah, that is nuts. But Kimi Räikkönen, at least he has a regen in a way in Oscar Piastri, who, again, it's the closest parallel. You're never gonna find someone who is directly a carbon copy of Kimi Räikkönen, but Oscar does have that composure that Kimi did, and he's not the fiery guy.
But yeah, no, we're gonna wrap it up here.
Actually, are you not gonna address this comment?
No, I am. Don't worry. I am. Don't worry. Yeah, great. Happy for Crystal Palace, man. They've had a better season than most teams in the Premier League have this season, because the aim is to win trophies. So, Crystal Palace have had a better season than Arsenal, better season than Man City. They've had a better season than everyone not named Newcastle, Liverpool so far. And it depends on what the result is on Thursday and if Chelsea can win the Conference League. Otherwise, we'll see 6 teams in the Premier League win trophies, or at least 5 teams in the Premier League win trophies.
Yeah, can I just add one thing? It has been the year of the Eagles, right? Crystal Palace, Eagles, go ahead Eagles, winning in Holland as well.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And the Super Bowl, the Eagles as well. So it has been literally the year of the Eagles. So.
No. I need to clip this. I need to clip this. I need to put it up. But anyways.
So America, get your shit together. Anyways.
Big up to you, Kevin. And yeah. Nah, my favorite driver right now. Right now, we're talking about right now.
Franz Hermann, right?
No. Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, if we're doing
Anyway,
it right now, it's Hadja for me.
from
I-
mine, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah,
Gus, Lewis,
Hadja's.
obviously Lewis, isn't it?
Yeah, probably Lewis, but I just enjoy watching Formula One as a neutral. But I want Ferrari to do well.
Yeah. Well, Lewis Hamilton. Lewis
Exactly.
Hamilton. I mean, I've pretty much given my props to Lewis, obviously in the Ferrari, but as of right now, not yet. I'm not a Lewis fan like that, but I will support him while he's at Ferrari. That's what I'll say. But anyways, people, we are gonna wrap it up here. I do have to jump on another stream, which will be on this channel. Me and King will be back straight after this. We'll be doing the NBA Game 7 of the OKC versus Denver Nuggets preview. So we'll be live literally like a few minutes. So once I end the stream, we'll be going live straight away after 2 minutes. So do stay tuned, people. Like, share, subscribe. I'm getting so close to 250 subs, man. Literally 6 subs away. So if you guys could sub, that'd be great. Sub to King's channel, like I said, is linked in the title. And he will be doing some shows with Agustia on his channel, and they do a lot of what's it called, Rumbles, isn't it? You guys do like politics and everything on Rumble as well. Am I correct?
Nailed it.
So yeah,
authentic world analysis on Rumble. We talk about politics, and I'm sure we'll be doing a stream very, very soon, right, King?
Yeah, definitely. We still have to do a wrestling backlash review, and obviously politics. The world of politics never stops. There's a lot of
close panel, bro. Sorry about that, but yeah, but you can leave your comments in the chat, and we'll get to you. But anyways, people, we are gonna close out. Sorry, you guys want to say something before you go?
Oh yeah, in terms about Lewis Hamilton, he is my GOAT, which is hard to say as a Ferrari fan because he's spent most of his time in Mercedes. But yeah, that's what I think about Lewis, and Hadjar is my future champion. I think he's going to be a race winner and a world champion. Yeah. I like him. I don't know. I think most people say Kimi, but I don't know. This Hadjar guy.
He's your brawn breaker, King. He's your brawn breaker.
Yeah, he's my guy. He's not no affiliation with Ferrari, but I like him. I don't know why. I just like it. I like
the honey
driver.
But anyways, people, we do have to close it off because I do have to start the stream in literally like a few minutes because the game starts in like half an hour, 40 minutes. So yeah, I do have to get going. So
Nuggets 7.
People, Nuggets in 7, please.
Hopefully.
But yeah, people, like I said, go follow these guys on the listed channels. King's channel on Rumble, and any other channels you have anything to plug in any other channel?
No.
All right, cool. We're out, people. Take care. Like, share, subscribe. Peace. Take care.